Hello, 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 everyone. And it is Tuesday night at 9 o'clock. And you know what that means. It's time for the progress report with me, your host, D Sage. Everyone, right now, if you just do me one quick favor, if you take this time to share, like, send it out there. I hope you got yourself a nice wintry, Christmassy type drink right now. Myself, I am just drinking some coffee so that way I can keep myself nice and energized because for some reason I feel a little drained today with all the news coming in. But I'm so happy to have a new guest host with me here today. One of my long-term friends, one of my good college buds. We go way back to CCRI, Ron Kevin Lewis, and I'm going to talk to him a little bit later. He's sitting right over there and then in the screen next to me. This guy right here. We were supposed to have Alexis Tolliver. They were supposed to join us today, but unfortunately they became very ill, and we wish them a speedy recovery. Okay, Alexis, love you. Big hearts, big hearts, big hearts. But let's get into some things today. So, where do I begin with a lot of things that are going on in the world today? First of all, if you haven't heard, Rudy Giuliani has gotten COVID. All right. I know. Take that sip, Ron. Rudy Giuliani has COVID. And so, of course, the president's got to send out a tweet for his homeboy. He said, at Rudy Giuliani, by far the greatest mayor in the history of New York City, and who has been working tirelessly exposing the most corrupt election by far in the history of the United States, has tested positive for the China virus. Get better soon, Rudy. We will carry on. Please don't carry on. You know what? Now they have lost their key prosecutor. Don't carry on. We're all set. It's good. But you know what? We all said it. We saw Rudy when the dye was coming down his face, and then he took his handkerchief out of his pocket, wiped his nose, and put the cleans, and then the dirty side, the one he just wiped his nose with, wiped the sweat off his forehead. There ain't no sanitariness going on in there. Did your mama not teach you how to wash your hands properly, Rudy? Did your mama teach you how to not wash your hands properly? That's what happened. That's exactly what happened. Not to say that, because I know people who've been washing their hands properly have caught coronavirus. I just want to say that before y'all all get on there and come at me on Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat and all of that. Anyway. Also, Donald Trump had said, I had it right here. Today he had the conversation talking about the vaccines, and apparently he is calling this Operation Warp Speed Vaccine. Wait a minute, I didn't know James T. Kirk stepped in to help with the. I did not know that Star Trek came in and said, "We're going to get this in warp speed. Let's go. Beam the vaccine up, Scotty." I had no idea. He said, from the instance the coronavirus invaded our shores. What? From the instance the coronavirus invaded our shores, we raced into action to develop a safe and effective vaccine. Wait a minute. Is this the same guy that when the coronavirus hit the United States, this is the same guy that said this is a hoax? He was still holding rallies. He wanted us to open back up. He wanted to hold these big, huge rallies with all his Trump supporters while they kissed each other and not wore masks and sweated all around each other and things of that nature. Yes, this is the same guy. This is the same guy. He says, he continues, we harness the full power of the government, the genius of American scientists, and the might of American industry to save millions and millions of lives. But we've also lost lives as well, Donald, didn't we? He said, before Operation Warp Speed, the typical timeline for the vaccine development and approval lasted years. So he's saying basically we would have waited years for a vaccine. No, actually, if you never took us out of the World Health Organization, I think that we could have shared resources around the world to come up with a vaccine. That's what they did with the H1N1 and many other. That's what they did with the Spanish flu. That's what that was the purpose of the World Health Organization, so we could share resources for the betterment of mankind. But no, Donald Trump, you prefer us not to be there because coronavirus was one big what? Hoax. Lastly, but not least, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton announced that he is suing four states in Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. And here's the reason why. He's saying he's already filed with the United States Supreme Court, and he says that allegedly for exploiting, open quote, the COVID-19 pandemic to justify ignoring federal and state election laws and unlawfully enacting last-minute changes, thus skewing the results of the 2020 general election. Do us all a favor and just give this up. Just do us all a favor and give this up. It's over. It's done. It's finished. Like, we're tired. We just, you know what we want to do right now? We want to drink eggnog with whiskey in it and just get lit and forget that 2020 happened. But no. Donald Trump and his fellow Republicans and his fellow people that sit there and want him to be around, guess what? They want us to just feel miserable right up until January 20th. But you shall now take my joy, Donald Trump, and none of you Republicans along with you. So we have a great show. Welcome, my friend, my good friend, Ronald Kevin Lewis.
Hey. Oh, thank you. You're too kind.
I mean, we've known each other such a long time.
Over a decade, which is insane.
It's been over a decade. So we met each other when we were teenagers, everyone, as you see. We met each other when we were teenagers, young little things. No, we met at CCRI. And I believe it was a World Lit class with Professor Sherman. It was a Professor Sherman class. That's all I remember, that it was a Professor Sherman class. Shout out Professor Sherman, CCRI Providence. Hey!
Great. Also, and congratulations to you, Dion, for being featured in the Icon Plus calendar for 2021. I heard about that. Good job.
Yes, I'm so happy. Thank you, Ron.
Yeah.
I'm so happy about the calendar. So the release is going to be this month, and they are taking pre-purchases. And if anybody wants to purchase one, I know my family out there, they've already hit me up talking about they want to purchase calendar and things of that nature. If you want any information on that, everyone out there, go to info@theprogresschannel.com, and we will get that information out to you on how you can pre-order or how you can get a calendar. Suggested donation is $20, and the proceeds go to Rhode Island Solidarity Fund. I'm pretty excited about it. And I can, Ron.
What month are you, by the way?
I was told I was. Actually, I can't. I don't think I want. I'm not sure.
Okay.
It might have changed, and I'm fine with that. I'm not sure. I would love to have been June because my birthday, and my birthday is June 28th. June 28th is a historic day in the LGBTQ community. So, I felt like, I should have got June, but that's fine if I don't get June. But it's fine. I'm just happy that I'm able to be part of something. And I never thought of myself ever being an icon in the community at all. And I still don't see myself as an icon in the community. I just do what I'm called. I just do what I'm called to do, and I go where I'm needed. That's it. That's all I do. It's a wonderful feeling. When I was looking at the icons, I noticed that I was like the senior citizen of the
Getting up there, yo, for
like
real.
goodness gracious. But it's just so with all that said, so Ron, I got some things I want to talk to you about, some hot topics that have happened here in Providence. I'm not
Word.
sure if you've heard of Councilman Michael Correa.
Hmm.
He
Uh-huh.
serves Providence. He serves Providence District 6, I believe, if I
Okay.
know off the top of my
I
head.
think I read something about him doing some kind of like toy gun give back or something like that. I don't know. Yeah.
You know, I mean, let me make this very clear. Councilman Correa has done some good things,
Mm.
but this right here, what he did is, for me, no elected official should be representing anyone when they misgender someone.
Mm. Mm.
And not only did they misgender, not only did Councilman Correa, Michael Correa, misgender someone, they misgendered an advocate in our community. They misgendered someone who speaks up and puts their best foot forward, who organizes rallies. And not just that, Michael Correa, you insulted a personal friend of mine.
Mm.
And he was talking about former city council candidate and a few years back, good friend, Justice. I don't know if you know Justice Gaines.
Yeah, I love
Um,
Justice. She's a really good friend of mine. Yeah, she's
you know
great.
what I mean? And Justice is wonderful. Justice is a wonderful soul, beautiful soul, and I don't think deserved this at all. And here's the thing:
No
it's one thing
one,
to
no one, no one,
accidentally
no one
misgender
deserves it,
someone
right?
and be what did you say?
Well, I was just saying no one deserves to be misgendered, right? Like,
Nobody deserves to be misgendered at all. Nobody. But it's one thing to accidentally do it, but when you do it knowingly and willingly, and I'm gonna read what he said. He had said and allegedly said, because I have to say allegedly, said, open quote, she, he, it, whatever. He's still working on developing his breasts. You got to be careful with that kid. He's involved with Miguel Luna's wife. And I know the late Councilman Miguel Luna's wife, wonderful person, huge community advocate that has been advocating for a very long time, late 80s, early 90s. Actually, when I got started in politics, you had to know who Miguel Luna's wife is. I did not speak to her, so I'm not gonna put that out there. But for for a council person, a councilman, to say something like this, like, see,
it's beneath the office, right? Like it just
completely beneath
literally
the,
is.
especially in our city of Providence. I
Mm-hmm.
think I think in our city of Providence, I would like to believe that we're one of the more progressive cities.
Of the trust that people like imbue to like elected officials, right? Like if an elected official is there to not only serve but to also like establish laws and policy that like protects people, like yeah, that's just I mean that it's outrageous. It's ridiculous.
And you know what? If his initial response was like, you know what, that happened a few years ago. I apologize. I have been, I have done some sensitivity training. I know that it was wrong for me to say this. If that was your response, his response, I'd have been like, okay, there's no need to talk about this. But that wasn't his response, Ron.
What was
His response was basically that and I'm paraphrasing here from reading the article, that he believes that the recordings were done in secret, and that the recordings were taken illegally, and they're just excerpts. So there's a human resource investigation at City Hall about this, and he already has an attorney to defend himself. So and nowhere is he apologizing apologizing for what he's done. Nowhere has he apologized. And you know what? Here's the thing. I've ripped apart people in our community for being insensitive to race. I've ripped apart people in our community for being insensitive to for being terse. I have ripped people apart. So I'm going to rip this city councilman apart right now, Ron. Just
Right.
give me 30 seconds.
I mean, you're totally right. Yeah, right. Like there's a total corollary there between like race, and the vulgar, like awful things that people used to say to people of color, to the consistent and the unapologetic, like, uh, uh, whatever reason there is to like misgender a person, right? Like that's,
Right.
it's just unacceptable, right? Like apologize and we move on. But if you don't apologize, your ass needs to get dragged. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. And in my opinion, and I'll say this right here, Councilman Michael Correa should resign. He should resign from his office. There's no need for any type of language like this at all, for purposely making someone feel, trying to make someone feel insecure, for purposely trying to make someone feel upset and or not comfortable with themselves or not comfortable with society. What Michael Correa has to understand, and from what I have understood, and I'm not speaking for my trans brothers and sisters, I'm speaking with my trans and non-binary brothers and sisters right now. But what they have told me, one of the hardest things to do is to identify who they are. And you, Councilman Correa, who's supposed to put forth legislation, who's supposed to put forth ordinances, who's supposed to make sure that when they got elected, that they represent not just one portion of the community, but the entire community, and you're not doing that. So therefore, sir, you're not holding, in my opinion, your oath of office.
Mm.
And you should resign.
Mm.
With that said,
Time to
glasses back on.
yes. Time to I guess take the foot off the brake and drive forward, Rhode Island, huh?
I mean, but this also comes, you have a city councilman saying this, but this is after the governor of Rhode Island has put forth, and she just put forth, and I don't have it right here in front of me right now, but I had read earlier today that the governor just put forth a very diverse group of people to be judges, six people judges, and giving now women the majority in the justice magistrate system of our state.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
and
I was looking at that earlier and I saw something about there being like the first Asian American woman, the first Latinx woman to be put in these judge seats. So
yes.
yeah.
It's I think it's about time.
It's
high about time.
I mean, what about living in Rhode Island is we're always the last, I think, of the New England states to accomplish any kind of progressive agenda. And so yeah, it's just time for that era of Rhode Island to end. Time for us to drive forward. Yeah.
I agree. So as the pandemic rages inside, advocates, families, and allies rally at the ACI during last week. From Uprise, Rhode Island, presently the number of cases among incarcerated individuals at the ACI is surging past 570, with nearly 100% of those incarcerated in maximum security building, in particular, now COVID-19 positive. For 9 months, a group of formerly incarcerated Rhode Islanders, loved ones of those currently incarcerated, and community allies have been mobilizing to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in the ACI. Those efforts have been met with silence and inaction by Governor Raimondo and Rhode Island DOC. Incarcerated Rhode Islanders and their loved ones have consistently made reports of insufficient medical care, limited access to personal protective equipment, PPE, and cleaning supplies, prison staff, shrinking Center for Disease Control guidelines, haphazard quarantine policies, and inhumane restrictions. Raimondo has remained steadfast in her apathy towards those behind bars, passing the buck to a Department of Correction whose long-standing medical director recently resigned after nearly 450 of approximately 2,100 incarcerated Rhode Islanders contracted coronavirus in November alone. So, I believe that rally. I believe that rally had taken place either yesterday or last week of some sort during the week. Since I can't remember the exact day. I should have done my homework. I apologize. Thank you for those of you who did that rally.
Yeah.
But Ron, how do those numbers make you feel, or to hear that like 2,100, 450 in November alone contracted COVID?
I mean, when we think about like how quickly like this virus and this illness like replicates itself, like 450 in November, we're in practically midway in December, right? So by the end of the month, is that double? Is that triple? And I mean, the fact that like Gina gets on TV like every Thursday, every whatever day of the week it is, and is consistently like warning all of Rhode Islanders to not be indoors with people that they don't live with, to like whatever the precautions are that we like need to take, but is not looking out for like the incarcerated population among us. And it's also this thing that's going under rug swept. It's pretty indefensible, and honestly, like that's why like I voted for Matt Brown, like, to be real. Like, yeah, sorry. I just gotta throw that out there. Gina has been disappointing me as a governor ever.
I'm not gonna lie, I voted for Gina for a second term. I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. We already know. You and I already know where we stand. Listen, we both know we're Democrats. We're two different types of Democrats.
All I have to say is this is what a centrist Democrat will do. That's all I have to say. God bless.
You know what? You're absolutely right. That is what, and you know what? You know what's been bothering me lately about a lot of centrist Democrats? Because I don't think a lot of human rights or basic needs, such as this, like basic needs, they need PPE, they need cleaning supplies. Because here's the thing: if you're not protecting the inmates, that means you're not protecting the staff that work there as well. So,
and it's also
way,
I was going to say it's also just super telling that like the chief medical person like resigned. Like that's
bye, peace. I'm not dealing with this. What, you left it on me? You're trying to make it my problem. You don't want to give me X, Y, Z, this, that, and the third. And last I checked, isn't there still some money that that we're sitting on? Some COVID relief money we're still sitting on. That was the rumored around. I could double check that during the break, but yeah. Listen. During a social distance rally on Sunday, organizer protesters demanded that in order to address this crisis, the Rhode Island Department of Corrections, Governor Raimondo, Attorney General Peter Nuara, and Rhode Island's courts increase transparency, heighten safety regulations, and do all they can to release as many people as possible. Their demands, and they have some pretty good demands, about 7 demands. But to be honest with you, I think, if you want to lessen the population, start releasing those people. Start releasing those people with violent list of crimes, such as, I don't know, since we're decriminalizing marijuana, all those people that are still charged with marijuana charges.
Yeah, I mean the Democrats, I believe today the House passed legislation to decriminalize marijuana. So like why, especially in democratically held like majority states, like why are there still people in prison or going to jail, right?
Not just that, we here in Rhode Island have been working for the past few years to decriminalize marijuana. In fact, the governor's own husband makes benefits from marijuana plants and things like that. So why haven't we taken steps, to be honest with you, to remove those people that are in prison, that are in the ACI, that have what's now what is the decriminalized legal amount, under an ounce? Why not? Why not let those people out? That, I don't know. That's just me. That's just. With that said, so I totally forgot something, but I'll tell you guys after the break. But we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Don't go anywhere, or just freshen up your drink. Hello, and we're back. I'm here with my good friend Ron Kevin Lewis. Hey, and he's joining us from his home. I'm home. We're staying separate because of COVID and all this stuff. And we were just talking about, if you're just joining us, we were just talking about how there was a demonstration over at the Rhode Island ACI, and before I made a point about that we still have not spent all of our COVID relief money from the federal government. And during the break, our producers got me the information. We have received from the federal government $1.55 billion in COVID relief, and have only spent $3 million to aid the residents in Rhode Island, the businesses in Rhode Island. That leaves $1.2 billion left. Um,
And yet we have people who are incarcerated going without soap, without IPP, and the governor and I'm assuming no one in places of power really are speaking about this or doing anything about it, and yet they have the funds to not even have this be a problem.
You're absolutely right. And there's many problems I think that COVID has caused. And if you sit there and think about $1.2 billion, I can think of 1.2 billion things they can do with that money. For example, if they want the kids to go to school, why don't we hire more teachers in the inner city schools and lessen the amount of kids in classroom instead of trying to spread 20, 25 kids? Let's lessen it to 15 kids per classroom.
I thought it was 30 kids actually.
30 kids. I'm sorry. 30 kids. You're trying to socially distance 30 kids in a classroom, and you have $1.2 billion left over. Where I guarantee you use some of that money. Hire some of these substitute teachers full time. While use the money. It's there, Gina.
Gina gonna use the money, all right. But anyways,
I almost want to say an old Martin Lawrence school. Damn, Gina.
oh Lord, that has been me ever since this whole like we're now like arriving at the shore. I'm like, Gina, we ain't gonna make it to the shore.
Knock it off, cut it out. Wait, did you see the meme? It had Cardi B and it said, "There's some holes in this house," and then the next meme was Gina Raimondo talking about how many. I was dead. But I will say this about Gina. She started doing a good job with keeping COVID contained here in Rhode Island, and then the people just lost faith in her plan, I guess, because we had faith in her plan, and now people have lost faith in her plan, I guess, because now we're trending as per capita one of the highest new cases in the country.
Yeah. I mean,
Rhode Island, we're beating Florida.
We are being
Florida. Seriously, just get it together. Sorry for those of you who watch that live in Florida.
I mean, if we're gonna be real, there is only like a fractional difference between Raimondo and DeSantis. Like, if we're gonna be real, right? Like, at the end of the day, they care about the dollar, and like that's really what matters, right?
Right.
To them.
I mean, but it shouldn't be about the almighty dollar. Right now, listen, people have lost jobs. People are losing their homes. People have lost family members, loved ones, friends. People have lost so much in 2020. And why, if the job of the government is to protect us and help us from terrorism, foreign and domestic, well, let's just say right now in the White House, we have the biggest domestic terrorists that there is. And the governor should be willing to take that money that the domestic terrorists gave us to protect us from the domestic terrorists.
Come on now. Come on. Preach. Take me to church. Come on.
Sorry, I just said it. All right. Moving on. Speaking of coronavirus, earlier in my monologue, I know you heard me say Rudy Giuliani tests positive for coronavirus. Rudy Giuliani, the personal attorney to President Donald Trump, has tested positive for COVID-19, Trump announced. Get better, Rudy. We'll carry on, Trump wrote Sunday in Twitter. Giuliani has not announced his diagnosis. The former mayor of New York has been crisscrossing the country to battleground states, leading the president's long battle to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential race.
Girl, like lawyer, like client. Like lawyer, like client. Like client, like lawyer. I'm not sure which way it goes, but yeah.
I mean, I seen him in a room full of people in Pennsylvania. He was in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, the day before Thanksgiving, and he was in that room, and legitimately, they were talking about nonsense. Complete utter nonsense, to be honest with you. Like, I couldn't even believe. Sorry?
I said it's all nonsense, isn't it? Though
it is all nonsense. Giuliani has repeatedly disregarded public health guidelines, appearing maskless in state capitals, hotel ballrooms, and indoor news conferences in recent weeks. Also, he was maskless in that new Borat movie. We all seen that Borat movie when he got his hand stuck down his pants or something like that. Anyway, I'm calling him out. I'm sorry. I'm done, Ron, at this point. I'm done.
Like, I mean, it's totally laughable. It's completely laughable. And like,
the sad thing, these are people with prominent positions in our country. The president is the leader, the president of the United States is the leader of the free world. And the president's a joke.
He's a complete and utter joke. I mean, I think he's honestly probably like destroyed the office of the presidency for like generations. Honestly, like I'm a teacher, and like I just had this experience where one of my kids, I told them that I voted, and one of my kids was like, "You vote? Why?" Like, and so when we have like 14-year-olds who like don't understand like why one should even vote, there's a real issue going on.
You have 30, 40-year-olds or 50-year-olds that don't understand the reason to vote.
Come on.
And I talk about it constantly. I know you've seen me talk about it on Coffee with D. I've gone at it with my own cousin on Coffee with D about it. He says, where do we go from here? As when we talk about the Black community, where do we go from here? I said, well, we have to create a voting block, just like the other communities do. We have to make sure, at the end of the day, when you look at the numbers in the African American community, 90% go to the Democratic, go to Democrats. However, what's the percentage of Black people voting? That's low. It's lower than 30%. So imagine if we get more than 30% people voting as African American community. What if we have 50%? What if we have 60% now? That number changes. And the other thing is, we all got to work together. We all have to work together. Don't get me wrong. I'm not, and I'll make this very clear. I'm not a fan of Candace Owens. But if I saw Candace Owens being bashed, I'm probably going to speak up for her because she's a black sister. Sorry, she's a black sister, and I just wouldn't want to see.
Bash? What do you mean by bash?
Like if somebody bashed her in the head with something, or somebody hit her, you know what I mean? Something like that. Like no, don't do that. Don't do that.
Right.
Don't get like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now bashing as far as like how I bash her frequently when she says dumb things such as Ahmaud Arbery was not a murder. You know, when she says things like that, and I get on her for things, we get on her for things like that. That's different when I'm talking about it verbally. But for anybody, and I don't care if I see it's the black conservative, black moderate, black centrist, black progressive.
Dash.
Huh?
Stacey Dash.
Stacey Dash. Yeah, if you're you know how much that broke my heart about Stacey Dash?
Dion, come on.
Exactly. She was Dion and Clueless, and I loved it. Like I was like, oh, and then boom,
Yes.
She blacker than 1,000 Nights and want to sit there and talk about this no.
Lord Jesus.
We're probably gonna get fined for that comment or called out for that. Anyway, moving on. Speaking from we were talking about Giuliani, his COVID symptoms and all that stuff. I mean, but that was just disgusting. Did you see him giving that speech? Just the dye was coming from his head. He had boogers coming out. He used a hanky, wiped his nose, and wiped his forehead, wiped the boogers onto his forehead.
Yeah. Oh, poor baby.
Just nasty. Yeah.
That was a sight. And then it was the bewilderment and the wonder of like, well, how does that even happen? Like, what was that? What is the substance leaking from him? Yeah, I don't know. It's the ooze. It's the ooze.
You know, I never liked handkerchiefs anyway in the first place. Don't worry, I have a pack of handkerchiefs that I never open because I'm like, why am I going to use a handkerchief? But you know, then I thought, oh, I can use it to clean my glasses. But to blow my nose, no, I'll just go get a pack of Kleenex I can throw away and get some hand sanitizer. Like that's disgusting. Like to all of you that use a handkerchief, please stop. Like seriously, stop using a handkerchief to blow your nose.
I don't know anyone that uses a handkerchief. I think like my grandmother recommended it, but there's like a whole process involved, and like ain't nobody got time for that. You know,
I mean, I put it when I have to wear a 3-piece suit to go out, I'll put a handkerchief in the pocket. Yeah. You know, little handkerchief in the pocket, but I don't take it out to blow my nose.
He was trying to be an upstanding gentleman, okay?
Well, upstand yourself looking like patient 0, X, Y, and Z. Okay.
And now, I mean, we see the results, so.
Yeah, exactly. Speaker Pelosi makes it clear that she supports trans students when questioned by an intern. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Democrat of California, was asked at a press conference if she would support measures by President-elect Joe Biden that would allow transgender children to participate in activities as their gender identity, and if she would agree with doing so. Yes, she said without hesitation. The question was apparently posed by Lucy Collins, Capitol Hill reporting intern from CNSNnews.com. Open quote. Joe Biden says that on his first day in office, he'll use Title IX to give transgender students access to sports bathrooms and locker rooms in accordance to their gender identity in all federally funded schools. Collins asked, does he have the power to unilaterally do this, and do you agree with it? And Nancy Pelosi responds says, yes, and I think he does. Pelosi responded before moving to the next question. You know, I like that they're taking the approach with Title IX. I'm familiar with Title IX only because of during my time as a junior bowler, they had scholarships for girls for college, but they didn't have scholarships for boys because they had to equal the Title IX says they have to equal the playing field for sports. So in my day, when I was coming up in bowling, even though I was good and I was out there, putting up numbers, and probably would have done well in college. They just didn't have it because they had to equal. They had to have the same amount of sports for males as females as they do males, so it had to equal out. What I like about him using the approach of Title IX, because it's just basically stating that, hey, we have to have sports for everyone, no matter what gender they identify, whatever their gender identity is. So I like the approach of him using Title IX, and I like the fact that Speaker Pelosi is supporting it.
I mean, yeah, Pelosi is like, I mean, she's already earned like a place in history. She's the first woman Speaker of the House. She may not be like financially progressive, but she is like socially super progressive. And you got to give it to the madam for that. Like that's,
No. All I'm gonna say is, I didn't want, and I think you and I talked about it before. We talked about it, and I said I don't want Nancy Pelosi to be Speaker of the House again. Someone else should be Speaker of the House again. But I gotta say, these past couple of years, she's been giving it back to Donald Trump. Every punch he throws, every jab he throws, she throws a punch and an uppercut at the same time. I love
her moment. Her moment. Oh Lord.
She looked. Wait. First of all, she just didn't rip it all up together. She said,
"Yes, come on now, come on."
And then the last page, she ripped mad slowly. She said,
"Oh, yes."
Or how about the day she decided to clap back?
Oh, the clap, yes.
Well, here was the best. Fox News reporter asked her if she hated the president, and she said, No, I don't hate anyone. I was raised Catholic, and I pray for everyone, even the president. I pray for the president. And you know what? It makes perfect sense. Bill Clinton talks about it when he came into office. There was a note left for him by President Bush Sr., by the father. And he said, I pray for your success, because your success as president ultimately means the success of the country. And this is somebody who lost to President Bill Clinton. That's what you do. That's how you be presidential. That's how you be an adult.
Come on. Yeah, that's been the legacy of the presidency and the nature of the peaceful transition up until now, up until we come up to this like unmatched, undeserved ego. But yeah.
I don't even know anymore. I don't know. But what I do know is I done lost my place. Well, here we go. But then here we go. George's Kelly Loeffler, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, has donated her Senate salary to an anti-LGBTQ group.
Oh yeah, she a mess. Ooh, this one.
Senator Kelly is fighting to retain her seat in a special runoff election against Reverend Ralph Warnock, but now she's facing blowback over her congressional salary. Here's the thing. I love the fact that the Reverend is not donating his money to anti-LGBT. That says something right there. But here you go. You have this senator saying, "Oh, I'm going to donate it to anti-LGBT." I mean, isn't it time for anti-LGBT groups just to be put to bed and put to rest?
For real. I mean, I think it gets complicated down there in the South, with the religious right and all of that jazz. But you make a really good point. You have Reverend Warnock, who is also the Reverend of Dr. King's church, I believe.
Ebenezer?
Yes. Yeah. So I don't know, but yeah, your point that he is not is not giving his money or not giving the money. Also, she is like a billionaire or a millionaire or something like that, I believe.
Yeah, it says she is one of the wealthiest people in Congress and pledged to donate a $174,000 salary to Georgia charities. Now it's been revealed that she's been giving it to a particular ugly anti-LGBT group and pregnancy centers meant to discourage women from having abortions.
Yep.
The group statement is the term marriage has only one meaning, the uniting of one man and one woman in single exclusive union. The group statement of faith reads, all prospective clients must agree with this statement and share these beliefs. So obviously, they're not going to take money from someone who doesn't share those beliefs. They're only going to take money from someone who shares the beliefs that they have. So this tells me that this senator is anti-LGBTQ, and I think that's sad in this day and age for anybody, Democrat or Republican, to be anti-LGBTQ.
She's a white Southern Republican. Like, of course. I mean, like.
I'm sorry. Okay, all right. You know what? But we know there are some white Southern Republicans that are not going to this length.
I don't know that, but
I know some. It's a very small group. Very small group.
A very small select group. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think also the history, right, of the religious rights, of the Southern religious rights specifically, though, it's often said that it gets its start in the anti-choice anti-abortion movement, right? But that's actually not the case. The case is actually that the religious right specifically, they begin being against like schools integrating, and specifically private Christian schools integrating. So there's just this legacy of hatred there. So yeah, for me, it's just not surprising. But I digress.
Okay, so lastly, let's spend about 60 seconds on this, and then I'm going to go to commercial break. All right, GOP leaders block measure affirming Biden as president-elect. The symbolic resolution was rebuffed on a party line vote by the congressional committee planning the inauguration. Senator Republicans on Tuesday refused to acknowledge the transition of power to Joe Biden, even as they met to plan his inauguration next month. The top GOP leaders in the Senate and House reject the symbolic resolution during a meeting of Joint Congressional Committee on inaugural ceremonies that would have essentially affirmed Biden as president-elect. I'm going to say something about it. I remember 4 years ago, 2016, Joe Biden was vice president. And if anybody knows anything about Congress, when they have a joint session of Congress, the vice president, who is the president of the Senate, chairs the joint session, and the vice chair for that session is the Speaker of the House. Joe Biden was sitting directly next to Paul Ryan. Democrats tried to put in injunctions at the same thing to stop the inauguration of Donald Trump. Joe Biden stood there and told his own party. I've been speaking about this for weeks. And if people don't believe me, I'll get the video and post the video. And you can see the video where Joe Biden told his own party, it is over. It is over. It is done. The election is over. And then we find out what we find out about Russia and all this stuff afterwards, right? But here's the point of the matter. Mike Pence, for the love of God, as you say you love God, call this election. Call this election. Seriously. Stand up there and do what is right. The president-elect, when he was vice president, he was in the same position as you are. He didn't run scared from his party. He actually told his party it's over. Stop this madness. No, stop it.
I mean, they're all falling down one by one, right? They're all like starting to concede and to acknowledge. But I think you are right. Like it would do a great number if Pence would just concede.
I mean, what's Donald Trump gonna do? Fire you? Seriously, was he gonna fire you?
Like, what is he holding over his head? Is it that he's not going to host you on his new TV show or his new TV network? Like,
I don't know. I don't know. Is he gonna talk about that one time you accidentally walked in on him in the shower and you're like, ooh, I don't know. What is he gonna talk about, Mike? I don't know. I don't know if that happened, y'all. But with all that said, we're going to take a second commercial break. We'll be right back after. Hello, everyone. We're back. I'm here with my good friend Ron Kevin Lewis. Ron, it's been great to have you here. Tonight. We talked about so much.
It's been so great.
Yes, we got to do. So let me ask you a question. How have you been doing during COVID? How have you been?
You know, there's that song Day by Day. That's how I've been trying to take it. That's honestly how I've been trying to take it. Okay. Because if we try and worry about this month by month.
Yeah. That is true. That is true. You know, my grandma always used to tell us, she said, listen, take it one day at a time, give to God what you can handle what you can handle, what you can't, give it to God. And that's it. And I was like, all right, and that's how I took 2020 and COVID this year. But we've talked a lot about Donald Trump. We talked a lot about the Republican Party. This is an interesting thing that has happened over the past couple of weeks. Have you noticed the relationship between Donald Trump and Fox News? Yeah, I think Donald Trump is going through his next divorce. We're probably going to see that in divorce court pretty soon. Donald Trump divorcing Fox News.
Fox News. Okay.
Fox News, not Melania. I don't think he. I don't think he can do better than Melania.
Okay. Not at this point. Jesus.
So anyway, he said at Fox News daytime is not watchable. In a class with CNN, MSNBC, check out OANN, and Newsmax and others that are picking up the slack. Even a boring football game, kneeling and all, is better.
What does OAN even? What is it? American Network? What's the O for?
I have no idea what it is. Listen. Apparently, there's these ultra conservative people that are letting Donald Trump hear what he wants to hear. Fox News is no longer doing playing that fiddle faddle with him anymore, and I guess it's a problem. I guess it's a problem. That's just funny to me. I get tickled pink when I watch Fox and Friends and they're attacking his administration. I get tickled now.
I mean, his administration is just so laughable at this point. Their positions are indefensible. The fact that they lost the election and are still trying to just drum up excuses or drum up reasons. Go ahead.
OANN stands for One America News Network. One America. I mean, we know there's one America, and we're trying to keep that one America, but you guys are separating that America. Okay? One America. We know there's one America, and in one America, when someone loses an election, they gracefully bow out. They give a concession speech, and they don't bring up some bogus claims about voter fraud because they can't take a loss.
Mm. And then actually say that they don't lose well. That's just it's yeah. Oh man.
What else? What else? What else are we gonna do? What else? We can't solve all the problems of the world. I wish we could solve all the problems, but we can't. We really can't. But I hope you have some good holiday plans for the next coming weeks. I know I kind of do. I guess I have.
What are you doing?
Well, I still have to put up my tree.
Oh yeah, your tree.
Yeah. Oh, mine is easy. It's one of those things. It's like it literally comes out like an accordion, and like the little you just pull the little middle piece out, and boom, and then put the stick up, bang, it's done. 1, 2, 3 process step. It's already decorated. I don't have time to sit there and decorate. Y'all want candy canes? The candy canes in the jar next to the tree. Leave me alone.
Wait, so it's just a barren tree?
No, it's not barren. It's already decorated. Like it's
already decorated. Okay, I missed that part. I was like, you pulled it. So wait, what? Okay, cool. Wow.
Listen, if when it's done, I'll take a picture of it, send it to you. Like, oh wow, look like somebody put a lot of time into that tree. No. 1, 2, 3, bang, bang, boom.
Cool.
So let's get ready. So we gotta go. We have to say goodbye to everyone. Until next week. Final thoughts. Usually I give some final thoughts, Ron, but I want to hear your final thoughts first. Final thoughts on everything.
My final thoughts on everything. All right. Well, thank you to all of the organizers who went out on behalf of all of the incarcerated people in Rhode Island. Mad props to you. Please keep doing what you're doing. Please keep fighting. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God. This fool is out of here. This fool is out of office. Thank God. The ooze is real. Don't really know what else to say. So, yeah.
So, my final thoughts, as always, you guys always know, let us during this holiday season and understand that, 7 months out of, well, this entire year, this pandemic has really put us on edge. Some of us on edge people have lost so much. But one thing I will say, do not allow to steal. Do not allow it to steal peace. Do not allow it to steal sanity. So with all that said, remember, it's not pulled over unless you stop. Other than that, good night, Rhode Island.
Good night. Good night. Thank you.